welcome to Strange Planet. I saw Insidious, The Last Key, the first horror movie of 2018. I was like, I gotta see this movie. I've seen the other Insidiouses in the franchise. I just wanted to see this next installment. Insidious, The Lost Key brings back Lynn Shay. She plays Elise Rayner, the paranormal expert woman from the other films. It's clearly a prequel to the original Insidious because we all know what happens at the end of the original Insidious to this woman. She dies. This is actually a sequel to the last film. Like how she met up, remember in the last film, the third film, how she met up with those two other guys, the corny two dudes that become her assistants in the paranormal. Now what's interesting about this film is that, look, let's be real, it's supposed to be a horror film, and it is, for all intensive purposes, but a film like this just doesn't really scare me. However, it intrigued me. Gave me, at least for me, a glimpse into Elise's past. It starts off in 1953. By the way, this is going to be a spoiler alert because I can't really talk about this film without really talking about it. So, if you haven't seen it yet, come back later. The movie, again, it starts with her as a kid, when she was a kid. And it shows her dealing with her abusive father who wanted to like literally beat the paranormal out of her because he was afraid. But in truth, there was something a lot more sinister and dark going on with her dad, as we find out later on in the film. She grows up in this terrible abusive household, and the only one who really cared and who respected and loved her regardless was her mother. Well, as time went on, eventually she gets a call from a concerned person about disturbances happening in the home where in the house where she happened to grow up in. So for her, it was having to come back home of sorts to pretty much make peace with what was going on. At first, she rejected the initial request to come over and check out what's going on, and then she changed her mind because she realized, you know what, she needs to see this through. There's a lot of unresolved issues from her childhood, from her past, that finally had to like come to this. So she goes, and the two guys go with her. I forgot their names because in truth, I find these two very forgettable. They're the most corny, they're the most corniest characters. You know, they're such comic relief slapsticks in this whole thing that you kind of just want them to go away to a certain point. But I understand their point in the story. They're there to assist her. They're there to help her. You know, she's quite elderly at this point. She runs across her brother, who she hadn't seen in forever, and her brother's very resistant. She doesn't want anything to do with her. He has two daughters. One of them who admits to her, to her newly discovered aunt, that, hey, guess what? I have this ability too. Which, in my opinion, brings about the possibility of the Insidious franchise to continue with this young kid at the reins of being the head of the paranormal with those two guys by her side now that Elise has moved on to the other side. Not getting into too much detail, they deal with the case initially in the house, and it has to do with this horrific demon that has used fear, has used hate, has used all these things that are dark and evil to kind of enslave the people who has ever lived in that house. That includes Dad. So, reluctantly, Elise must once again go into what she calls the further to confront this demon and release those that are under its prison. You know what's crazy about this movie? You know, it is the stuff of nightmares if you think about it. You know, one of the scary things about nightmares is that when a monster is trying to get you in your dream, you can't scream, you can't move, you can't make a peep. And that's kind of, you see that play out in this film as the demon attacks one of Elise's nieces, and kind of like traps her soul into the further. But she goes in and to rescue her, and she gets help from the other sister who, you know, again, knows how to apparently do this. So it's like, ooh, you know, somebody's going to take the reins on. Again, I really think this series is going to continue with this girl moving forward. And then they get in there and they she confronts the demon. The demon traps her too, at least for a while there, under lock and key, which is the whole point. This thing has like keys sticking out of its fingers, and it like locks your soul. And you see that very early on in the movie, like in the very beginning when she was a kid. She came across this creature. Eventually, there's a big confrontation at the end, and the spirits that were under the influence of this key demon are set free, and the one to deal the death blow to this demon comes from an unpredictable source that surprised me. But at the same time it didn't, because I kind of see why they would go that direction. I won't tell you that thing. Now, because this is a horror movie, I'm going to use the Horror and Coffee Cup rating. And I give it 3 coffee cups. It was really good. The acting was great. I think, you know what's amazing? They bring back this woman, Lynn Shane. They bring back this woman, Lynn Shay, who is already, 74 years old or something like that. And it's clear she's had a history of acting and everything like that, but she is amazing in this. Like, she still has the vitality and spunk of a young person to deal with the paranormal. So I really enjoyed Insidious, The Last Key. And what's great about this one, and this is where you know it's not going to keep on going the way it is. At the very end of this, you can see that this is definitely the direct prequel to the original Insidious, because she gets the call to immediately tackle the situation we see in the very first film. With the tiptoe through the tulip demon, the one that looks a little bit like Darth Maul on the side and got like razor fingers like Freddy Krueger. It's funny. We had, Victor and I, my partner in crime in Horror and Coffee, had a very serious talk about the first Insidious film. And there was a lot of elements in the first film that reminded us too much of Poltergeist. I will put the link below to that video shot so long ago. So excuse the quality. Where you'll see our take on the very first Insidious film. I'll put the link below. Check it out. So what are your thoughts about Insidious, The Last Key? Talk to me. Comment below and share with me your thoughts on this first horror film of 2018 as we move on through the year to see all these other great movies that are coming out. Another reminder, Wide Range Media with myself, Alex, and Pablo. We go on every Wednesday night at 9 o'clock Eastern Standard Time. I'll put the link below so you can go to our website and check out Wide Range Media, where we discuss all things and everything in entertainment. This is Strange Planet NYC, Ralph Perez. Take care.